Hello class, my name is Quintin. This is my co-host,
Paige Murray.
and today we're going to be talking to you guys about irregular verbs in the first person yo form. Now, to start off, there are some things that you should already know, or if you don't, we made a list for you guys of words to know. Now, cover was to fit, correr to fall, conocer to know, escoger to choose, guiar is to direct, hacer is to do or to make, poner is to put or to place, saber a fact, saler to leave, cigar to follow, traer to bring, orvelar is to be worth, and bear to see. Now, mind you, these words are already transformed into the irregular form, and that you can see in the purple writing.
Alrighty. And to go along with that, in addition, there are words that are on the left hand, the words that are on the left hand side, there are 3 rules that you must know and that you have to follow in order to be able to do your irregular verbs in the first person yo form. Now, here are some examples that I'm also going to go over as well. But first, let's get started with our rules to know. So rule number 1. For the verbs that end in CER and CIR, you must change the C to ZC for the yo form. And rule number 2, the verbs that end in GER and GIR, you must change the G to J. Now, last but not least is rule number 3. You must change GUIR to G to G, or GU to G actually. They're all done in the yo form. So these rules you must follow in order to know how to do your irregular first person yo form. Now, here are some examples of our rules. We're going to go over all the rules that you need to know and give you some examples of them, okay? So here are some words that go along with rule number 1.
Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to circle the part that we will be changing and what will not stay the same. And Paige then is going to write in what we will change it to, okay? So, number 1. Cansar, which is to know. Paige, what would you change that to?
You would need to change your words to now. Remember, because we're doing it in the yo form, this is what you would need to change. Because we're changing your CER, we're going to change it to C to ZC. So now we're going to take that C out and we're going to change it to Z, C, and because we're using the yo form, we're going to add an O at the very end of it.
Alright, and the next one is going to be conducir, which we're going to keep the CONDU. And we're going to take out the CIR, and what are we going to put there, Paige?
We're going to also remember that each word that we go through must have your yo. So that we don't forget, I'm going to go ahead through and put our yo in the very beginning of each word we're going to discuss, okay? So that you'll always know that it's always in a yo form. So, just like he said, we're going to keep the CONDU. So we're going to write in CONDU. Now, because it ends in CIR, we're just going to change your C to ZC, and we're going to add our O. So we're going to do ZCO. So, if you're writing this down, your word should look just like this, okay?
Alright, and the next word is going to be carisar. And we're going to keep the first 3 letters, which is the C, R, E. And we're going to be taking out the C, E, R.
Alright, and now we're going to change that to C, R, E, and we're going to do Z, C, O.
Okay, the next word is going to be traducir, and we're going to keep T, R, A, D, and U, and take out the CIR.
Alright, so now since we have that, we're going to write in T, R, A, D, U, Z, C, O. Now, as you can see, all of our endings have the O in it, okay? Because I must reiterate that it's the yo form of the first person, okay? So that means we have to have our O in there, okay?
Alright, the next one we're going to keep the estable and take off the cer.
So now that means that we're going to go in and we're going to write in estable, Once again, keeping that O because it all boils down from our yo.
Gotcha. The last one is going to be producer, which we're going to keep the PRODU and take off the CIR.
Because it's a CIR, once again, we're going to Z to C, or Z from C to ZC. So we're going to type in or write in PRODUZCO. And now we have just concluded our rule number 1. So make sure that you always have your ending of your O words, okay? And remember the rule for CER and CIR. You must change that C to ZC. This is a very important rule. If you don't do this, then your work will not be correct. And we want you to learn Spanish. So let's move on to rule number 2.
Number 2.
So now, as we move on to rule number 2, you're going to learn that your GER and your GIR, you're going to change your G to J. You must do this. This is just as crucial as rule number 1. All rules that we're going to teach you today are very, very important rules. So now, with rule number 1, like I said, remember to change your G to J.
Okay, so first word we have is escogar. We're going to keep the ESCO and take off the GER.
And we must remember, we're going to go ahead and already put in our yo form for it, okay? So that we know. So all of these, we're going to have our yo in front. Now going back to what we were just talking about. So now we see that we have to take out our GER. So with our GER, we're going to write in ESCO. Now we're changing that G to J. So it's going to be JO. The reason why we took off the ER because it's GER. Once you get to that G, everything behind it changes. Because we're still using yo form, we have to keep that O.
Alright, the next word is going to be DIR. I is what we're going to keep, and the GIR is what we're going to take away. So, like Paige said, we always started off with the yo.
Alright, and now what we're going to write in is DIRIJO.
Plain and simple, right? So, the next one, we're going to keep the EMER and take off the GER.
Alrighty, so now we're going to write in EMERJO. O's are very important, guys. Make sure that we keep our O in for our first person yo form.
And the last one on the rule number 2 is FINGER. So we're going to keep the FIN and take out the GIR.
Alright, so we're writing FINJO. Now, you see we've kept in all of our yo's are all in, straight on down the path. And now we kept all of our O's at the very end. We changed our G to J. Everything looks A-okay to me.
Yep.
Now,
number 3.
Last but not least. So, we must change our GUIR to, we're going to change our GUIR and take that GIR out and make it just a G. So there's no need to add another letter to it. Just like how we changed our G to J, now it's GU just to strictly G.
So the first word is cigar. What we're going to keep is...
What we're going to change it to actually is going to be SI. Your E now is going to change to an I. Okay, so now it's going to be, actually, I almost forgot. I've been stressing how important our yo is. So we must put our yo first. And now we're going to put SIGO. That's what it changes to. A word like that can be very tricky, but you must pay attention to all of your words and think carefully, okay, on the choices that we have to make when doing our irregular verbs in yo form.
Okay, and the next one we have is consigo.
So, now, with this word right here, we're going to keep the CON,
Okay.
SE.
We forgot the yo.
We did the yo again. Just wanted to see if you were paying attention. So we're going to add a yo right in front of it. Now that we have our con